In 1887, a young reporter checked herself into a mental asylum. Within hours, she wasn't a journalist anymore. She was just another insane woman trapped inside, and no one knew if she would make it out. This isn't a novel. This is New York City. Welcome to Beyond Your Bedtime, where history gets darker the later you stay up. Her name was Nellie Bly, born Elizabeth Cochran. She was determined to be taken seriously in a world that dismissed women's voices. Her editors at the New York World gave her a dangerous assignment. Go undercover inside the women's lunatic asylum on Blackwell's Island. Pretend to be insane. Tell the world what you find. To be admitted, Nellie had to convince strangers, doctors, and judges that she was mentally ill. She checked herself into a boarding house, then refused to sleep. She sat upright through the night, staring unblinking at the walls. The next morning, she confronted other boarders, accusing them of trying to harm her. Her hollow eyes and trembling voice unsettled everyone so deeply that the police were called. At Bellevue Hospital, she claimed to have lost her memory, answering questions with confusion and silence. Doctors wrote her off as delusional and hopelessly insane. It had taken just 2 days for society to strip her of her name, her identity, and her freedom. She was placed in custody and ferried to Blackwell's Island. No longer Nellie Bly, reporter. Now she was simply another mad woman. What she found inside was not medicine, it was misery. Patients were fed food so rotten it reeked of decay. Blackened bread, spoiled butter, and soup filled with scraps of meat floating in greasy water. Drinking water came from a single bucket that was never cleaned, swarming with disease. Women were forced into freezing baths, dunked, and left to sit in soaking gowns until they shivered uncontrollably. Some were strapped down in cold, wet sheets as a form of treatment. The nurses ruled through violence. They struck women with fists, twisted their ears, and pulled them by the hair. One patient who resisted was tied down, left bound for hours. Worse still was the sound. Nellie described a constant chorus of screams, sobbing, and moans echoing through the wards, women begging to be freed or simply begging to be heard. And perhaps most horrifying of all, many of these women were not insane. Some were immigrants who couldn't speak English and were labeled as incoherent. Some were poor without families to defend them. Some were inconvenient wives or daughters discarded by men who wanted them gone. Nellie later wrote, "I could not help wondering how long a woman would keep her sanity if she were shut up in such a place." After 10 days, the New York World secured her release. Her article, 10 Days in a Madhouse, shocked the public. A grand jury investigation followed. The city pledged reforms and more funding. And Nellie Bly became a household name, her courage forever tied to the women of Blackwell's Island. Her exposé was a turning point, but even as conditions improved, the deeper issue remained. Women were far more easily labeled as unstable, emotional, or insane than men. In Nellie's time, a woman could be institutionalized for grief, exhaustion, or simply being disobedient. Today, the language has changed, but the shadow lingers. Women are still more likely to be dismissed as emotional, misdiagnosed with mood disorders, or told their pain is all in their head. The story of Nellie Bly is more than history. It is a reminder. A reminder of how fragile freedom can be, how easily voices can be silenced, and how often women's suffering has been ignored. And those echoes still surround us, waiting to be heard. Subscribe to Beyond Your Bedtime for more of the weird, wonderful, and unhinged. But careful, it might just keep you up at night.